Real truth daily. This is Daily Truths with Dave Ahlman.
Hi, everybody. Welcome back to Daily Truths. I want to speak very candidly this morning about what it's like when you have kids and they are hurting, whether they're in the house or away from the house, when they are hurting and there's nothing you can do about it. That's tough, isn't it? And it seems like when they're hurting in such a way, we hurt as parents even worse. Maybe we can't sleep, or, we just have their concerns on our mind all the time. Maybe it affects our interactions. Maybe we just have a hard time eating, on and on and on. When our kids are hurting, sometimes we hurt even worse. So what is a great prayer for our children when they are hurting and there's nothing we can do about it? Now, remember the disciples, Peter, James, and John, went up on a high mountain with Jesus. And of course, Jesus was transfigured before them. They come down the mountain. Jesus tells them not to say anything about that experience until after Christ has been raised from the dead. Then he has an ongoing conversation. They get to the bottom of the mountain, and there's all these people gathered there, including some of the scribes. And they're arguing with the disciples, Mark tells us, about some of the things that Jesus has done and their lack of their willingness and ability to do what Jesus does. We don't know exactly what that conversation was like, but anyway, there's a huge crowd at the bottom of this mountain. Now we pick up this verse 14 in Matthew chapter 17. And when they came to the crowd, a man came up to him, kneeling before him, and he said, "Lord, have mercy on my son, for he is an epileptic and he suffers terribly. For often he falls into the fire and often into the water." Wow. Mark tells us that there was a demon possessing this young man. And as a result of that, he was having these epileptic seizures. And can you imagine this father, what he experienced, what he saw? His son would have these uncontrollable epileptic seizures, and he'd throw himself into the fire outside the house or into a water pit, a water area where the water was gathered outside the home. And there was nothing, listen to this, there was nothing the dad could do about it. This was a gut-wrenching experience. It was horrible for him. His son was hurting. And as a result of that, he was hurting even worse. So he comes to Jesus after experiencing and witnessing this with his son over and over, day in and day out, month in and month out, and maybe for years. He comes to the disciples. They can't do anything. So this gut-wrenching experience of seeing his son hurting like he is, he comes to the Lord, kneels before him, and says this, "Lord, have mercy on my son." In other words, you're the Messiah. You're the Redeemer and King. Give your undeserved mercy and favor upon my son. Make him well. Lord, have mercy on my son. What a great prayer. So many times with our kids, there's nothing we can do, especially when they're older and they're out of our control, if you will, and they're hurting, and situations in their life, circumstances in their life are beyond their control and beyond our control, and they're hurting so badly, and you just want to snap your fingers and fix it, and you don't know what to do, and you don't know what to say. So what can you say to the Lord? You go humbly before him, acknowledging his messianic rule. You say, "Lord, anointed one, King, Redeemer, show your undeserved favor upon my son or upon my daughter. Let your love reign. Let your peace reign supreme. Heal them of this situation or of this affliction, whatever it is. Lord, have mercy on my kid." I've had to pray that a lot for our kids down through the years, especially when they're out of the home. There's so little you can do. Maybe you can identify with what I'm saying, right? I don't know what your situation is with your son or daughter right now. Maybe they've run away from the faith, or they're having marital problems, or maybe they lost their job, or they have some sort of addiction, and there's nothing you can do except pray. You know, one of the greatest prayers in the scripture was the prayer of this dad for his son. Lord, have mercy on my son. That's a great prayer when our kids are hurting. And that's a prayer you can say for them today. And that is today's Daily Truth. Have a great day in Jesus Christ.
Thank you for tuning in to Daily Truths with Dave Ahlman. Pastor Dave Ahlman is the pastor of Mount Hope Church in Boulder, Colorado. If this ministry is blessing you, please consider supporting us by sharing this channel with a friend. You can also like, comment, subscribe, or leave a review. This helps us tremendously. Come back tomorrow for your next Daily Truth.